welcome to the Creatively Challenged podcast where we talk entertainment, news, and random topics we bring to this $34 card table. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Nolan, and I'm here with the milkman, Mike Stuglis. Mike, how you doing today?
I'm good. How'd I get that nickname?
Dude, I'm just guessing. I don't
Milkman.
know.
I'm not a big milk guy.
Not really?
No, isn't it good for calcium? Is that what it is or something?
Yeah, and just like
Or for your bones?
getting big and strong, Mike.
That's Mike studying for a nutrition exam next week because calcium's on it. It's one of the vocab words.
What are some other good sources? I'm curious.
All right, we don't give a shit.
You don't give a shit? All right.
Magnesium and iron are two other ones, but let's move on.
That's Danny Stewart over there talking about minerals. Danny, how you doing?
When I was a lad, I ate 4 dozen eggs every morning to get large. But now I'm a man. I eat 5 dozen eggs, and I'm roughly the size of a barge, Ryan.
And those are lyrics from Beauty and the Beast, right?
Gaston.
Yeah. We've got a review coming on, a review about that movie coming up later. Mike, what have we got in the news this week?
Earlier this week, Edgar Wright dropped a couple of trailers for his new movie, Baby Driver, and the film is about a young getaway driver who works for a crime boss, and he is eventually set up in a heist that is doomed to fail. And what really stuck out to me in this trailer was the cast. You know, you have Ansel Elgort, Kevin Spacey, and John Hamm, who look like they're the two that might steal the show. But you also have John Bernthal and Jamie Foxx. And I don't know, man. This was my favorite trailer I've seen in a while. I watched it a few times, and I really liked what I saw. And it looked like a mixture of drive and heat with like comedy in it. I don't know. It's just I was really excited, and I thought this trailer kicked ass. And if you haven't seen it yet, I really suggest you do. But what did you think of it, Ryan?
I had heard about this maybe last summer, this movie that was happening. I was really excited to see what Edgar Wright's going to bring to the table. I'm really excited for the soundtrack, namely. Edgar Wright has he has a Spotify account, and he has like little playlists that he curates. He has some great taste in music, and I'm excited to see what he's going to bring to the table. But yeah, great cast. Another thing I'm excited for is seeing John Hamm doing other stuff. I feel like he doesn't get enough roles where he's different than the sort of Don Draper role.
Edgar Wright wrote the role for one person only, and it was John Hamm.
Really?
Actually, yeah. He had only him in mind, and he only wanted to hire him for the role. So I feel like that has to be a pretty meaty role if you write it specifically for one.
He's
person.
gonna nail it.
Yeah,
whatever
no,
it
he
is.
definitely will.
Ryan has a framed picture of John Hamm on his bedside table desk.
That's correct. I enjoy the handsome men of Hollywood. John Hamm's my favorite, and I have a headshot of John Hamm in a nice little frame on my nightstand. You know, every night you just go, "Good night, John," and just go to bed.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
What'd you think of the trailer, Dan?
I like how you're bringing 2 of the greatest Marvel supervillains ever with John Bernthal's Punisher and Jamie Foxx's Electro.
They are not.
It's a crossover event.
Electro sucked.
Punisher not.
Punisher does not suck. But no, this movie looks awesome. It was one of the most thrilling, looking trailers I've seen in a while. It looks like a great cast. It looks like a great movie. Very unique, by the way, as well. Looks very cool, and I'm excited to see it, but we'll see it going forward.
Yeah, comes out in August.
August?
August.
All right.
And it premiered at South by Southwest Film Festival, and the early reviews are really strong. So that just fuels the anticipation.
That's a film fest in Austin?
I think so.
Okay, cool.
Austin, Tejas.
Tejas?
Tejas.
All right, moving on.
As you said, Ryan, we pushed it onto the news right before the show. Henry Cavill has signed on to be in Mission Impossible 6. Do you have any more description on it, or did you just see the headline?
That's all I got, but it'll be really cool to see Henry Cavill doing what I can assume is a villain role. I think he's a lot of charisma on screen. If you've seen Man from U.N.C.L.E., you can get that kind of vibe from him. And I think I'm really excited to see him speak in other roles. If you saw Batman versus Superman, he was kind of underused. Didn't say much.
I think he has potential to be a huge action star. I mean, he has a lot of talent, and I think this could be a role for him that he really thrives in. But yeah, Dan,
He's also Superman.
Well, that's what he said.
Yeah.
No, I know. He's Superman.
Yeah.
He can do it all. He's got heat vision and
Big pecs.
yeah.
And acting skills.
Yeah. So I trust him. I think we're going a little bit too far with these Mission Impossible movies, but
Yeah.
you know, Tom Cruise is still Tom Cruise, and
Well, the past few have been like really good.
Yeah.
Well, that's the Mummy. That's different.
I know, but that's what we're getting out of Tom Cruise.
That's true.
As long as Tom Cruise can keep running dramatically and looking back at whatever's chasing him, they're gonna keep making those movies because he does that in every single movie he's in
His
nowadays.
gay thoughts, according to Family Guy.
What?
You seen the flashback?
Explain it. You have to explain it.
Yeah,
now.
explain this now.
It's in an episode of Family Guy, Tom Cruise. Well, it's like a Family Guy flashback. I don't remember what the setup was, but it goes to a flashback, and Tom Cruise is standing there on set, and then a little thought bubble comes up, and it's Tom Cruise. He's like, "Wow, that cameraman's muscles look really good in that tight t-shirt." And he starts to run away, and he's like, "You can't catch me, gay thought."
That's hilarious.
And then like the thought bubbles like following him. It's really funny.
That's
But,
fantastic.
but that is why Tom Cruise runs in all of his
That's
movies.
he's running from gay thoughts.
He's running from the boom shot on the car.
Okay. What else have we got?
Earlier this week, is it the official trailer for Wonder Woman or like trailer 2 or something?
Sure, it's the official trailer.
Official.
Yeah, let's assume.
I personally, from the trailer, really like the time period they set up. The scenery looks really good. I don't know about the story yet, and I thought there were... So I liked the trailer, definitely, and it gave me some hope, but Batman v Superman did the same thing, so I'm cautiously optimistic. It looked like they're going to use comedy in the movie, and in the trailer, it didn't look overly funny. But
Yeah.
that's me personally. What did you think?
Yeah, you're right on the comedy. It kind of fell flat. Every single joke we've seen in the trailers has not been that good, but let's go into this not hoping for comedy, but just an entertaining movie, you know? Again, like, it's a really cool setting. World War I is not used enough in movies. I love World War I.
Mustard gas was
Mustard, yeah.
introduced.
Bad stuff. It hurts, apparently.
And it's the first war with planes.
Thank you for setting the scene. And but yeah, it looks good. Unlike the previous DC Universe movies, this trailer doesn't show the whole movie, and
Yet.
we can't guess the plot yet. And
Yeah,
maybe it'll be good.
They haven't even really they've shown the villain. They've not really fleshed him out in any of the trailers. They hinted at him, so maybe they're keeping that secret
Yeah,
too.
hush,
So
hush.
yeah, and I'm excited to see Gal Gadot in a leading role. I want to see if she has the chops to do it.
She's fantastic.
I like
we'll
her
see.
hair.
I'd hold hands with her.
Yeah. What were your thoughts on the trailer?
Well, I'd hold hands with Gal Gadot.
Me too.
Those are my thoughts about the trailer. No, but I mean, it looks really good. Like, I'm surprised at how good it looks. But then again, Batman v Superman looked good too with its first couple of trailers. Suicide Squad looked really good with its trailers. And then they got the trailer guy to edit the entire fucking movie.
Oh yeah.
And it sucked. So, I don't know. Like, I'm excited for Wonder Woman. They're going to get our money regardless, but whether or not it's going to be a good movie, I don't think I can tell because the other two DC Cinematic Universe movies have, like, sucked.
Well, you're talking about Suicide Squad and Batman v Superman, right?
Yeah.
I keep forgetting about Man of Steel.
Well, yeah,
I don't know about you because it was a good movie.
It was a good
Well,
movie.
because, like, when they made Man of Steel, they didn't have in mind to make a whole universe yet because they weren't doing Batman yet. That was, like, a recent addition, but Man of Steel was awesome. And I think that was just because it was a solo Superman movie, and they weren't focusing on creating the whole universe yet. And then they do Batman v Superman and created the whole fucking universe in one movie and shoehorned all this fucking...
Cyborg.
They shoehorn all this shit in there and fucking Doomsday and all that noise. So, you know, I don't know. We'll see.
It was a mess. Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
This is not a breakdown of Batman v Superman.
No, we gotta move on.
Yeah, we're not about to get into it.
We can't do it here. All right.
Next, you go, Dan.
The Matrix reboot. I don't know why they're doing all these reboots of movies that have, like, recently come out. So they're doing The Matrix now. They're doing Memento as well. Christopher Nolan's Memento. It came out in 2001. They're rebooting that. And they're rebooting Scarface, apparently, too. I know Scarface was 1975, but
Is it 75?
it's 75, I think.
It's either that or 80. You want to look, Dave? Dave is our producer right now, new addition. Give him a mic. Say hello.
I've got a lot of problems.
I hope it picked that
I don't
up.
think it picked that up.
I have a lot of problems.
Dave's got problems.
He's got problems.
It worked both times.
Yeah, you picked up. You picked up.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the one with the headphones on.
Yeah.
Just kept going.
Wait, Dave, what do you have? Problems? You want to say it one more time?
All right. Let's get
Okay.
back
Okay.
on the.
All right. So, well, they're rebooting movies unnecessarily. Scarface is a classic, but here's the thing: Pacino's Scarface from the '70s.
Scarface is 83.
Wow.
83, okay,
Wow.
okay.
80s. Wow. I thought it was 70s. Okay, so 83. That was already a remake. Scarface is a remake. So this is a remake of a remake. Memento, you don't need to remake it. Christopher Nolan's one of the greatest directors ever of all time, in my opinion. And Memento was like one of his first.
It was his first.
Was his first, yeah. So,
False following.
Well, okay, a short film.
True.
Or short term.
okay.
okay. So, did Christopher Nolan give like the okay on that? I don't know what's going on. And now they're rebooting The Matrix, which, you know, I've never even seen any of the Matrix films, but like, it's too soon. Like, what are you doing? You know?
I mean, the first one I think is a great movie, and then the other two kind of went off on a tangent that maybe didn't need to be made, but it's gonna make them money. They're gonna do it. I mean, there's a Power Rangers movie coming out. You know, like they're not in it to make art. They're in it to make money. But whatever, I'll pay to see it.
Well, there's the thing about Spider-Man as well. Obviously, within the last 15 years, Spider-Man's been rebooted three times. So that wasn't a moneymaker. So Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man kind of started the superhero films, like big budget superhero films. It was that and X-Men, the original X-Men. They came out around the same time. And then, you know, so that series finishes up, and by then there's Fantastic Four and everything like that. And then the Avengers films come out, and Marvel doesn't have rights to Spider-Man, so Sony does The Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield, and those were like meh. And now finally they have Spider-Man again, and some people are probably, well, I mean, we're excited because we understand why there's a new Spider-Man, and I'm very happy about it because I'm a Spider-Man fan, and seeing him fighting alongside Iron Man and stuff is really cool. But like, this is the third Spider-Man, like new Spider-Man in 15 years. Like, people are probably like, what the hell's going on? Like, why is there another new Spider-Man? You know, I think reboots that are too soon are like really confusing. You know?
Yeah.
Personally, I'm getting tired of the reboots. You're right. It'll probably make money, but I have a problem with it. I think it's creatively weak. So I feel like they should go with the diegesis and world they've already set up instead of like expanding a different story and maybe telling something else.
That'd have been good.
Instead of just focusing on different things. So yeah, I don't see the point, but man, if they're doing it, they're doing it, and no one's gonna stop them. But I just wish they took different routes and maybe didn't do reboots, but just offshoots. I think that'd be better.
I agree. Couldn't say any more than that. The other and last piece of news we have this week is that James Gunn, director of Guardians of the Galaxy, and soon coming out this summer, right? Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
May.
May.
Jinx.
Mark your calendars.
Shit.
Guardians of the Galaxy 2 looks great, but Guardians of the Galaxy 3 has been confirmed this week by James Gunn. This means that Marvel is going to go and make more movies past the Infinity War movies, which are kind of like the big...
Phase 4, right?
I don't know what the phases are anymore. But that means that they're going to be expanding the Marvel Universe past the big Infinity War movies, which has been the climax that's been building up for the past 10 years. And what are you guys' thoughts on this? Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
You know, I'm excited. Shows a lot of confidence they have in Guardians 2. Does it not sound premature? They did the same thing with Suicide Squad, to where they're like, Suicide Squad 2 is coming out even before Suicide Squad came out. So I'm not, you know, if James Gunn is happy with this project and he's, you know, pretty confident they're going to keep making them, I mean, sure, go for it. I'll watch 10 Guardians movies, but like I said, it does seem a little premature. Even before one movie comes out, you're already building anticipation for another. But hey, more Guardians movies, I'm cool with it.
I guess what I'm just kind of, you know, it's weird to kind of think past the Infinity Wars films, because we don't even know what happens there, but we know, like, none of the Guardians are going to die now, you know?
Well,
like,
maybe. You,
I mean,
you
I
can't
know,
say
like,
Peter
like-
Quill won't die.
Yeah, but like, you're already kind of almost saying what's not going to happen in Infinity Wars and whatever the second one is called. So, I think it's kind of a very premature announcement of it. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
agree.
excited for Guardians 2 and I'm excited for Infinity Wars, but I think it was a little too premature to announce something like that, especially with this huge movie universe,
Sure.
So, whatever.
And moving into our other topic, speaking of universe building, we saw a movie this week. We saw
did.
Beauty and the Beast, a new Disney photorealistic reboot. We're going to get into the spoiler-free section of our review right now, so that's safe for everyone to listen. Everyone knows the story already, but there's things we don't want to spoil just in case. What were you guys' thoughts?
I thought first off, the cast was fantastic. The two standouts were Emma Watson. She broke through the Hermione, as Dan calls it, the Hermione role or what barrier, and she's definitely broken through because she's talking to a fucking candelabra and a clock the entire movie almost, and a guy in a spandex suit playing a bear. She was amazing. She was great in the songs, and she stole the show. And the other was Luke Evans as Gaston. I thought he was actually really, really good in this movie, and it was kind of a breakout role for him. I thought he was very suave, and he played the badass well, and he was also good in the songs. I was entertained throughout. I thought the second half was way better than the first half. That's when the story started clicking because, like I told you guys, the story kind of dragged the first half, and the musical numbers were way more interesting, and I was looking forward to those more so than the story, which I don't think is necessarily a good thing. But other than that, I really thought it was a spectacle to look at, really good movie, and I was just a solid film, and I'd suggest anyone to see it who's a fan of the Beauty and the Beast story. It's a good adaptation.
Beauty and the Beast is my favorite Disney musical ever. And I loved it. I loved this film. It was fantastic. It really still captured the magic of the cartoon one from '92. And it was just amazing. Emma Watson was awesome. Luke Evans was awesome. Dan Stevens? No?
Yeah.
Dan Stevens is the Beast.
I'm pretty sure that's
Josh Gad is LeFou. Obi-Wan Kenobi is is Lumiere.
You're right on Dan Stevens.
Ewan McGregor. Sir Ian McKellen is Cogsworth.
Who is your guy's favorite, like I guess non-human?
Lumiere.
Lumiere was mine too.
You
He was
can't not
hilarious.
say Lumiere.
Yeah.
Ewan McGregor did a great job, but I mean, even in the cartoon, Lumiere's awesome. But yeah, I loved it, and I did look forward to the musical numbers because I could sing along to them. I mean, Mike and Ryan, I don't know if you guys noticed, but when the songs came on from the original, I was sitting there mouthing
a lot of people were singing along. You could hear them.
It could. Oh my god, because it's amazing. So, it's kind of like the Jungle Book. You look forward to the songs. It was good.
I will say Jungle Book's a far superior movie. Would you agree, Ryan?
I'm gonna get into that when I get my
Yeah,
input.
I don't know. I enjoy them kind of equally. The thing is Beauty and the Beast. I don't know what the runtime on the 92 one is, but it's definitely shorter than that. And I'd say my gripes about Beauty and the Beast, if there are any, but these aren't. I still loved it. It was amazing. I loved it. I'm a huge Beauty and the Beast fan. But they added a little bit more story and a couple more songs. And even if you didn't know the original songs, I feel like you could kind of tell that those were shoved in there because they almost didn't make sense.
I get that.
The Beast singing a song when Belle's riding back to town. That was so dumb. That was really dumb. But I mean, the lyrics were all fine. It's just Beast didn't sing a song when Belle left. It was just kind of you could tell what songs were original and what songs weren't, and I felt like there could have been better flow. But still, overall, it didn't take away from the film. It was amazing. I loved it, and Disney's going forward with more of these projects, and I'm really excited for them. So.
This one really, I don't know about you guys, it confirmed for me that like I want to see more of these live action movies. I think there's so much to do with them. Even if the originals are great, like they're doing The Lion King, now I'm like super stoked for I just think it's a really cool concept that you're taking cartoons and making them live action. I just think that's awesome.
Yeah.
But
before I give my input here, do we really need to do a spoiler
I don't.
territory?
I don't have to.
I can because I can conclude after all this. Like I'm happy with that.
Here's the thing about spoilers and everything like that. So, let's talk about. Let's hear your thoughts, and then we can talk about the LeFou thing. If we
I was
really
gonna get into
wanted
that on mine.
That's not really a spoiler.
But
let's not do a spoiler-free thing. Let's just do our topic or a spoiler part. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, let's hear your thought. We'll have concluding thoughts
Okay.
about that. Yeah.
So, overall, this was a very solid adaptation with mostly the same exact plot as the cartoon, if I remember correctly. Like Mike was saying, Jungle Book was a far superior story because with the Jungle Book, they kind of added things to the story and gave it another direction. I really liked the sort of this sort of impacts of man themes that Jungle Book had, whereas this was just almost a direct adaptation. Like Dan said, the new songs fell flat. You could really tell the ones that were added in.
Because people weren't singing along to
Yeah,
him. I wasn't singing along to him. Like you said, you could hear other people singing in the theater.
Yeah.
When people weren't singing, it was a new song, and they kind of fell flat on their face. They weren't really that good.
Yeah, they didn't really carry anything with it. The costume design was super cool. I don't usually like say anything about that ever with movies, but they looked really nice for 18th century fictional French clothing. It's really cool. And then I'm sure a lot of people saw the headlines about the character LeFou.
Played by Josh Gad.
Played by Josh Gad. They made him gay in this movie, and everyone was like, "Oh, let's boycott this. This is horrible." Well, at least those people. We weren't, and we wanted the movie. And guess what? It wasn't a big deal.
It's barely in it, and it doesn't
Yeah.
do
He
anything.
was-
And I'm honestly okay with it.
When-
Now
Yeah.
that I've seen it, it's fine.
When there was like a gay part for LeFou, people like laughed at the comments because I think everybody knew what they were kind of going into with the character of LeFou, and I think people were laughing because it was like, that's what people are boycotting.
Well,
like
and
it was so subtle, like it's almost funny.
The
Like,
movie used it as comedy.
yeah, and
it was good.
It was really good. Because that just turned into more banter between Gaston and LeFou. It was really used well, and it wasn't that big of a deal. So I just think it was, blown out of proportion in Alabama and all that. Like I just don't I don't get it. It didn't like ruin the movie. It didn't take anything away from it. Like it wasn't a huge like part of it. It didn't matter. And Disney did it well, but. At this point, you just got to say Disney does everything well. Like you can't be concerned with Disney about making something like ridiculously bad or anything like that.
Yeah.
You know?
They're good at being PC, but they're also good at not pushing the PC too.
Exactly.
Like they send a good
Exactly.
message,
Yeah.
but don't shove it in your face.
Exactly. Because overall, it was the same Beauty and the Beast story, and it still had the same message from 1992. Like. Inner beauty is really what all that matters, and Belle was like, an independent woman that don't need no man, and she found the Beast and was able to learn to love him. It was the same story, and it was really good. It was awesome. I can't say enough how much I loved it.
Yeah, and one last note on LeFou being gay. They executed it so well because his sexuality didn't define him, and he was actually one of the better characters in the movie. So just props to them on, just doing it right and making him an actual person.
Like Josh Gad, I thought was awesome in this movie. I mean, he played the role so well of being like funny, but you could also tell he felt guilty at some of Gaston's actions, and I really liked how they handled that.
Yeah.
And like the sexuality was such a minor part, and I'm just really pissed off that people have gone as far to boycott the movie, and they haven't fucking seen it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like it's irritating, but props to Josh Gad. He did a great job.
More to get excited for. They're doing Lion King, as we said. They're doing Mulan. I'd like to see them do Aladdin.
Yeah.
Aladdin.
That's happening.
Aladdin is happening.
Is that official?
Yeah, and
I didn't see that was official.
that's in development, and people are really excited about it because the cast is all going to be Middle Eastern. It's not going to be a whitewash.
You know
sort
what?
of
I
thing.
did see that.
Yeah.
I did.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
That person agreed.
That'd
Oh,
be
that'd
good.
be
That'd be
great.
really good.
You get David Spade to play Cusco. But what's awesome is that, you know, like, they're going forward with these, and they're really, really cool. Lin-Manuel Miranda's in charge of the Little Mermaid project.
Ooh.
I'll bet that's going to get off the ground. The Little Mermaid is amazing. You know, and they already did Maleficent. They fucked up Cinderella. I really didn't like Cinderella. There was no singing. The mice didn't talk. It was lame. And then they did Maleficent, but I want to see, like, Angelina Jolie come back and have them just do Beauty and the Beast. Not Beauty and the Beast. Sleeping Beauty.
Sleeping Beast.
Yeah.
I did hear
Sleeping
that
Beauty
they
would
are
be
doing
awesome.
a second
Yeah,
Maleficent
but you
movie.
said they are doing a second Maleficent
I don't know
movie.
what the context is.
I
though.
want to see Sleeping Beauty. Like, Sleeping Beauty's awesome and Maleficent's awesome. So, you know, that'd be really cool. So, I don't know. We'll see. Disney's doing everything right. So,
Moving into our next topic, Mike, you're bringing in a random topic this week. What have you got?
You know, you got this asshole leprechaun every year. He's teasing you with his goods. And then you see rainbows, and, you know, scientists say you can't find the bottom of a rainbow, but you know what? Let me believe, man. I like the fantasy genre a little bit. What would you guys like to find at the end of the rainbow?
You know, there's a lot of things I desire in my life. You know, I'm only human. I think ultimately, a nice plate of flapjacks, steaming hot with butter rolling down it because it's so warm. I'd like that. I think that's what I'd want to find, like a nice table, just to go to town on a little short stack of pancakes. That's what I want at the end of the rainbow, Mike.
That's it?
That's all I want, just pancakes.
You can have the leprechaun giving you wishes. You can
You can
be a
find-
Celtic warrior.
Oh, wait, you can find the leprechaun?
Yeah, you beat the shit out of him. He's an
you can
asshole.
find anything at the end of the rainbow.
Does he like pancakes?
Who doesn't fucking like that?
So I want to eat pancakes with the leprechaun and kind of just talk to him about what he's been doing. You
How
know?
about the movies The Leprechaun?
Terrible.
Those aren't good.
Yeah, no.
He runs around and kills people.
Dan, what would you like to find? Wow. Dan doesn't smoke cigarettes, but it sounds like it.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
also miss drinking.
I've got, you know,
We'll get
we're all hungover. We had a St. Patrick's Day party last night. We'll kind of give a recap of that pretty
Dan up.
soon. What would I find at the end of the rainbow? I don't know. Like, I'd say like Natalie Portman. I'd say like Natalie Portman, you know, and she's there.
What state of consciousness is she in?
That's really dark.
Wow.
I'd say Natalie Portman just alive and well, and in all sense of reality, she's just good. You know, we just sit down, have a sandwich, you know, talk about whatever, and then she gets on with her life. You know, because I love her, I'm willing to let her go.
So you're saying you want to, when you get to the end of the rainbow, you too want to find food there too you want to have a sandwich?
I want to find Natalie Portman.
But then you're having a sandwich, huh?
Yeah, because the leprechaun served them to us.
Why wasn't he serving pancakes though?
Dude, you just said that you would eat flapjacks with the fucking leprechaun and that you'd be talking about how he was doing.
Yeah.
Why is my thing ridiculous?
I'm asking why sandwiches.
Why is my thing with Natalie Portman ridiculous in this situation?
I'm saying that obviously it's only pancakes on the menu, you know? How come it's sandwiches now? Did you get
It's not obvious.
Did you find the rainbow at lunchtime? Maybe they changed the menu.
It was about 1:30 in the afternoon, you know, it
Okay,
just stormed.
they changed the
Yeah.
menu. They changed the menu by then.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Fuck, right. Mike, what would you find at the end of the fucking rainbow? Huh? Oh, but it's not realistic. Oh, but they wouldn't be serving
No,
fucking
it's not
sandwiches.
realistic.
All right, let's go.
It's I show up at the end of the rainbow, and it's nice scenery. There's like a little waterfall, and And then obviously the pot of gold, which I keep. I rob the leprechaun and beat the shit out of him because he sucks. I hate him.
Oh my God.
I hate the leprechaun.
What are your issues with the leprechaun, Mike?
He's just an asshole.
On what
I've said it 3 times now. I don't like him.
On what regards?
He's always talking about his pot of gold, but he doesn't share it. He's just a schemer. I don't like him. The Pied Piper's an asshole too, but that's a whole nother.
Pied Piper played a flute
and lures kids.
Lures kids into a cave and diddle.
Well, you know him and the leprechaun. That's true, but you know him and the leprechaun are in cahoots somehow.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the leprechaun's there, and I got a table laid out for me. I got a corned beef sandwich.
Okay.
Nice.
Side of potatoes.
Nice.
Glass of Jameson.
Green River.
And-
Just get all the Irish stereotypes in there.
Well, those are like the Irish stereotypes I like, though.
Yeah.
And those are my favorite parts. And so, yeah, I have all those things. After I beat the shit out of the leprechaun, he is my butler and slave for the rest of his life. and I have the pot of gold now. And I don't know. Maybe I stay, maybe I go, but it's some beautiful scenery, and I just kind of hang out for the day.
Should
You know?
stay or should
When I picture the end of the rainbow, I think of the Shire from Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah.
And that's yeah. Song. But yeah, that is kind of what I think of it as. The end of the rainbow is almost like paradise. I think that'd be cool. Although the beating the shit out of the leprechaun's not really paradise. It's just kind of my personal gain.
It's your paradise.
But I guess it's my
Right.
paradise, but that's a little fucked up. But anyway, if you guys don't have any more input on the end of the rainbow, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's gonna trick you no matter what you wish for. So I think pancakes couldn't go wrong. That's why I kept it
He
simple.
could poison the pancakes.
You know that Jesus. I hope he doesn't. That'd be like a little bit too far for a leprechaun, man. Like usually he'll just like teach you a lesson about how selfish you are, but
No, leprechauns are dicks.
Yeah,
Swear.
schemer.
all right.
Well known fact.
Well, in celebration of St. Patrick's Day, we're gonna move on to another sort of Irish-themed topic. Mike, you want to introduce this one?
Oh, me? How do you guys define luck? The luck of the Irish, but everyone has a different feeling of if it's a real thing or it isn't. Dan, I know you have strong feelings, and I'll let you go on your tangent here about luck.
Well, I think that luck is a mindset, you know. I really think that, you know, superstitions and all that stuff is all a mindset, and to get lucky and to have luck and all that stuff, it's a mindset, you know. It's doing your routine and being positive and all that shit, you know. So like I mean I think back to the days where I played football in high school, and I'd always have to do the same routine because that led to W's later on the night. So like I just have to do, like, you know, I'd have to listen to the right songs, I'd have to, you know, eat chicken for lunch, you know, like I had to do all those things. You know,
Do you think that in turn gives you luck?
I just
how do you-
feel good. Like, if I don't do my routine, then I feel off. So it's not about feeling lucky. It's about feeling unlucky and feling not good if I don't do the routine.
So you have a bad mindset then, and you don't think that produces
exactly.
good results. That makes
you
sense.
know, and like for whoever follows me on Snapchat knows that every time I have an exam, I do a Snapchat and do this crazy shit. And, you know, and like if I don't do that, I think I'm going to do poorly on the exam. Now, like I haven't, you know, failed a college exam yet, and I'd like to think that's because of this Snapchat, you know? So that's how I see luck. I really do think it's real, but it's all a mindset for people. You know, it's like, you know, people bitch and complain. They looked up to the sky and they say, like, why me and all this fucking shit? I'm like, you know, like, happiness.
Does that have to do with luck?
Huh? Yeah. Like, yeah. Because, like, you know, people always want to, like, ask, like, why me and shit. Happiness is a choice. It's always a choice, and it's always the right choice. You have the power to feel good and to do the right things and be in the right mindset for things. So lucky, you make your own luck. So
Okay.
that's my viewpoint on it.
Well said. Yeah.
That's perfect. I think it's definitely not. There's no superstitial force.
Superstitious.
Supernatural.
There is the force though. There is only the force.
Superstition.
I am one with the force. The force is with me, Ryan.
I've had a bit of
enough, cheer
Jameson, so words are kind of spilling out bad. But there's no supernatural force that makes your day go one way or the other. I think everything is based on circumstance. I think Dan's kind of routine and getting the right mindset is very important. But ultimately, whatever happens to you is kind of on you, or just the natural chaos of the universe. You're not going to do good on an exam because you got lucky. You're going to do good on an exam because you studied or not.
No, I don't study ever.
Well, Dan doesn't study because he's lucky.
Well, that's why we're all defining what
It's
luck
because
is.
I've got a good mindset, and I know that I've got a good memory, and that I've earned everything I've gotten. But I just kind of have a routine, and I feel good all the time, and it's just not like people always go like, I wish I could be you. Why do I have to study? It's like, well, you don't have to study.
People do it different ways. You know me. I have
No,
to study
I know,
a lot.
I know.
And I've never once been like, oh, fuck you, Dan.
Yeah,
you don't
you're
have to
right.
study.
I
It's
know,
just
but
a
there are
different
people
situation.
who have, and I'm just like, really? So it's just kind of, like I said, I already had my thing. So
If you're living in spite anyway, you're an asshole.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
How I define luck is I actually made my own definition. Luck is an act of randomness that turns out to be beneficial for someone. That is all I think of luck as, and it's not an act of God. It's not anything mystical. It's a given situation where something unusual happens, and it might happen poorly for one person, and it might work out well for the other. So it's kind of like, for luck, it's like, think of the Super Bowl a couple years ago when the Seahawks, they ended up losing the game. They threw a bomb, ball was tipped around, defender almost picked it, and the wide receiver was literally laying flat on the ground, and the ball landed in his arms. And
Wow.
people be like, that's luck. God guided that into his arms because he wanted to set up the extravagant ending for the game where the ball was picked off.
And
No, the
then
ball just happened to fall in Jermaine Kearse's arms, and he caught the ball. That's
Yeah.
all that happened. It was random.
And then they blew it, and the Patriots won the Super Bowl, and it was fucking awesome.
Well,
But yeah, that's kind of all I see it as.
But
is just
then
something.
it was luck for Malcolm Butler for the Seahawks to make a terrible call, like throwing the ball on fucking the goal line when you had Marshawn Lynch, and then he makes the pick, and the Patriots win the Super Bowl.
Well, yeah, it was another. Like I said, it's a thing that's random. They couldn't predict if they were going to run or pass the ball.
Yeah.
It was a random guess, and that random event worked out for the Patriots. And yes, it was bizarre and it was very unusual, but that's what happened. And I think that is the only way you can judge luck. I don't think it's divine fate or anything like that. I just think it's given situation and something weird happens. I
That's
think
a
that's all it
perfect
is.
definition.
I think it can be all of ours put together. Well, it's kind of an inexplainable thing, but there's the random. There's the random call of them throwing a pass. There's Malcolm Butler having a mindset that, okay, I went through my routine this morning. I want to be in this situation at this time, and if they throw this ball, I can intercept it. And he's had practice, and he's a defensive back in the National Football League, and he's worked and he's done the work ethic, and he has the ability to make that. So there's the mix of all three of our definitions of luck, and he's able to do that.
Yeah.
So that's great. That's
Yeah,
great.
that's how I see it. Do you guys want to? What are we at? What time?
Right now we are at 39 minutes.
You guys want to talk about our party?
We could talk about our party.
We had a party. Well, they had a party at their apartment that I spend a lot of time at.
that'll be yours soon enough.
Unannounced guest that will move in after the summer. No, after the summer.
After the summer, I'll be
After
living
the
with
summer.
these guys.
He's like the Fonz showing up right now. Hey.
I spend a good time of the week, like, at your apartment, not in my own room. Like a lot of my time is spent
Well, you don't
here.
have to worry about your roommate.
True. He left.
Did you actually cut back on that? I'm actually getting really pissed.
If you didn't hear Dave made a poor joke about being
It wasn't a
irritated
joke.
that
I'm
Ryan's
actually-
here.
I'm actually pissed.
All right, Dave is serious right now. He's heated, throwing curveballs. Anyway,
Curb.
what about our party? Dan, what'd you think of our party? Actually, no, Ryan was the guest. Ryan, what'd you think of our party hosted by Dave,
Okay.
myself, and Dan?
When I walked in, I was initially impressed because for the first time in a while, this apartment was clean. And oh my God, it's very dirty here usually, and you guys cleaned it. You came together, and that was an immediate sort of judgment I made that wow, they're actually putting a big production into this thing. So I'm ready for a good party here. And it ended up being a great time. Good people came around. I had a lot of booze, and it was fun. Everyone was green for St. Patty's Day. Great time.
Everybody's skin color turned green.
Yeah, we dyed each other.
We did green face.
It was fucked up. Everybody was freaking out. Everybody just started fucking turning green, and I had
It's
it.
crazy, man.
Hulk was there, dude.
We were all him.
I had 18 beers. It was a great time. There was dancing. There was, smacking the tables like we were at an Irish pub. There were drunk bitches jumping on top of Dave's car, and
Okay,
and,
yeah, then they can be called that.
and then there was Pete falling asleep on my toilet, and it was
Had all the elements of a good party.
yeah, no, everything was great. It was great. It was awesome, and we had green jungle juice, but I stuck to my beers, and that's why I drank 18 of them, and that's why I had 3 McDonald's breakfast sandwiches. this
I
morning.
guess why we're talking about this is because you people out there, you got to celebrate with the people you cherish and love, because you don't get a lot of opportunities to have moments like this where you just, you're all together in one room, everyone's there, having all their attention in the place at one time. You don't get this opportunity too often, and it's I always cherish it when it happens. And for someone who likes solitude, those are moments that I really really like.
Solitude by Henry David Thoreau.
Mike, I'll tell you what though.
Mike Stewart.
I'll tell you what though. We're talking about all this luck, and I'm lucky to have you guys in my life.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
This
Thanks,
guy.
Yeah.
Gorsh.
getting real sentimental here.
Gorsh. That's fantastic.
I think the Jameson's condensing your.
Yeah, no,
Although I agree, Ryan.
These
No,
guys.
I'm getting sentimental, and I'm not even drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
drink of the week here was those guys had Jameson, and I was like drunk all of yesterday basically. I started drinking at 8:00 in the morning, and I couldn't do the Jameson today for our podcast, so I just made myself another White Russian because
And I made some pasta.
And
Yeah, Dave had pasta.
He
With bacon bits.
put bacon in there, and while he was preparing it, he dropped bacon on the floor, and Mike had to pick it up.
What did I call him?
An idiot.
That is accurate.
All right, so
Is that all we have?
there's another week here on the Creatively Challenged
The
podcast.
shortest episode.
Yeah, this is really short.
Damn.
It's all right.
Anyway, we don't want to
Wanna know who else
drag
is
it too
short?
long.
Dustin Hoffman's pretty short. Doesn't that just piss you off?
Danny DeVito's shorter.
Danny DeVito. No, but it doesn't piss me off that Danny DeVito's short. Like
What the hell?
like Dustin Hoffman's so short, it just pisses me off. All right,
What's the context of that?
because we're talking about short,
Is Dustin Hoffman the leprechaun in our situation earlier?
No, dude,
No,
I
he's
don't
a
want
great
to beat
actor.
the shit out of Dustin Hoffman. I'm just saying.
I'd have pancakes with him.
He's fucking short,
I'd have
All right.
pancakes with him.
You gotta rethink your food choices, Ryan.
I do. And that is this week's podcast. Remember to rate and subscribe to us on iTunes. We have a YouTube channel as well. We're going to have links for that in the description, as well as links to our Twitter and Facebook page. And as always, thank you for listening.
What if God was one of us? Just a slob like one of us. Blue, blue, blue.